That was Montreal-based rockers The Damn Truth, with Lonely, my favorite track off their latest album, Now or Nowhere. The Damn Truth is made up of Lee-la Baum on lead vocals and guitar, Tom Shemer on lead guitar and vocals, P.Y. Letellier on bass and vocals, and Dave Traina on drums and vocals. The band has been around for the better half of a decade, and Now or Nowhere is their third full-length album. Their sound is kind of timeless. If I didn't know about them and heard it on the radio, I would think that they were one of the great bands of the classic rock era. And this new album just sounds fantastic. And it's no wonder, because it was mostly produced by Canadian Hall of Fame inductee Bob Rock, who has produced some of rock's greatest albums, working with some of rock's greatest bands like Metallica, Bon Jovi, Motley Crue, Bryan Adams. The list just goes on and on and on. I got to chat with the entire band, which I don't get to always do, so that was pretty exciting. And I got some insight into the making of the album, what it was like working with the legend that is Bob Rock. And I got some cool background stories on a couple of the songs. I even got to ask Lee-la and Tom's son Ben a question or two towards the end of the interview. I learned that the youngster is already collecting vinyl and has started playing the drums. So we'll have to keep tabs on him, because something tells me he'll be following in his parents' footsteps. Here's my chat with The Damn Truth.
Okay, awesome. Very cool. Yeah. Here's Tom. Here's PY.
Howdy.
Hey,
this
guys.
Is Frankie. Here's Frankie.
It's going well. How are you guys doing?
Good.
We're very excited. Tomorrow's launch day, so we're hyped up.
We're at the cusp of it. Everyone gets to hear this amazing record. I'm so excited for the world.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah, you've been enjoying it.
Oh yeah. I've been listening to it like a bunch of times. We'll get into it in a little bit. But awesome, yeah, man. I had a hard time picking my favorite song. It just kept getting better. Cool. That's okay, awesome, so seeing as we are on a bit of a time crunch, I'll just jump right into it. My first question, Lee, is for you. Yep. Where did you get those cool glasses?
That's a great story, actually. It's the company who originally made one pair for Prince, and they were not allowed to make any more pairs. It was part of like their deal with him until he passed away. And after he did, they reached out to me. I don't even know how. And they asked me if I wanted some pairs, and I said yes. I'd love some pairs of glasses.
That's so cool.
They sent me two. I've got these in blue and in green as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
I wear them proudly.
That's great. That's great. Cool. I just had to know. They're like the most unique glasses I've seen in a long time. So
thank you. Yeah, you can see Prince had like, I think just like his last tour, whatever, that was his tour poster. He had just before he passed.
Yeah. Well, so this podcast was kind of birthed out of necessity, because I wasn't able to go backstage to interview people. So the big question, hopefully this won't have to be the first question for everyone going much further, but how has the pandemic been going for you guys? How are you?
Well, the first couple of months were shock, and everything, the whole gamut of feelings of fear and depression and the unknown. And then we sort of like shook ourselves and said, well, we got to keep making music. We just, even if we can't see each other, we've been living in a van together for like 4 years straight. And even though we can't continue doing that and like making music together, we have to find a way to do it. So we started doing like from home sessions where we would, pass the tracks on one to each other. And then once a week we would release a song like that. And that sort of gave us the momentum to continue, okay, we can do this. We can finish this album that we started with Bob just before lockdown. We can finish it. We can release it. It gave us the push that we needed to keep going.
For sure. Yeah. And then of course, the TikTok account, I guess was like pre-COVID, but really.
No, it was actually like 2 weeks after, like once we were in isolation. That's when we started.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that was a lot of fun when doing the research. I was like, oh, cool. I'll check some of these covers out. Thinking I would just like check out one or two. I ended up watching all of them. Lee, your range is absolutely insane. I mean,
Thank you.
like you could sing like anyone you want to. I think it was your rendition of White Rabbit, like just gave me chills. I was just like,
Oh,
holy
thank
crap, what is going on?
Thank you so much, man. Well, that's definitely one of my favorite songs in the world to sing. I absolutely adore that song. It's always like that was like the song that really like hooked me into psychedelic rock. It was that's the song that opened my mind. So for me, it'll always be a cherished song to sing. I'm glad you felt it. Thanks.
Yeah,
It's actually the first songs we loved you did too.
That's right.
When we first started jamming together again after a month of being depressed, that was the first song, and you can hear it in Lee-la's voice. She's quite happy to be singing again.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. How is Ben doing?
Oh, he's very good. Thank you for asking. He's we put him in the other room with the drum set and some headphones, and he's having a blast.
Oh, cool. Are the rules pretty similar in Quebec that schools are shut down? And
Actually, Quebec kept school as a priority, and they've been open since September. So it was last year that he was out for 3 months and home with us for those last 3 months of school. But this year they're in school. But
we got schools, but we also got a curfew. So up until a week ago, we since Christmas we've been on curfew, so we had to be home at 8 p.m. every night.
Oh wow. Yeah. I think they're trying to do that in Ontario, but like without calling it a curfew, they're just like, oh, all the stores are just magically closed at 8. I guess you have to go home.
That's so Ontario too.
Yeah. That's
like, oh, it's already done. We can't do anything about it.
Oh well, we'll go home then.
That's so good.
Well, I guess we should jump into the album. As you mentioned, we're right on the cusp of it coming out. Drops tomorrow. Album is called Now or Nowhere. It's your third album. And as I mentioned, first off, I just wanted to commend you on such an incredible album. It's honestly one of the most well-produced albums I've heard in a very long time. And with good reason, the legendary Bob Rock produced most of it. I would love to know how that came to be, how you got hooked up with him, and then how exciting that first phone call was.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you guys, I want to start?
Dave,
start it off.
I mean, for us, when it came time to start to like thinking about, record producers, we knew we wanted to produce a record here in Canada. And I mean, Bob was just basically at the top of the kind of like the dream list that we had drafted. And, it was kind of, we decided we wanted to dream big. And so we wanted to reach out to Bob. And, luckily we had kind of like a way to get, maybe not to him, but at least like to his team. Our current manager kind of worked with Bob many years ago. So he kind of always had like this card in his back pocket that he's like, we can reach out, but it's got to be right. It's got to be with the right songs because you only get one shot. We send something to him, we got to send him the right songs. So I mean, we pestered our manager for months after our demos were done. It was just like, come on, man, let's send these songs. We got the songs. And he was, he was just trying to push us to see if we could like bang out a few other ones. But I mean, like all the demo process was done for the music. And through our manager, we reached out to their team and we got a reply really quick. It seems that same day he listened to the songs and that same day he reached back out to us and said, hey, I love this song. Let's work together. And we started to make arrangements to get into the studio. And it was only, months later that we actually got into the studio, but it only took a few hours to get like that kind of like response from him that he was interested in the project, interested in the band and wanting to go to work with us basically.
Right. Yeah. And how did that first phone call go? Hearing Bob's voice at the other end.
It was crazy because it's such a familiar voice, even though we never spoke to him before. It kind of felt like, we knew who he was, but there was also like a lot of anxiety and maybe a little bit of fear because you never know, you hear so many stories, like horror stories. Oh, Bob Rock is going to really change who you are, or he's going to take your music to like different places maybe you don't want to go to. And there was all of that too in the background, but that we just like didn't really want to believe it, but we didn't know. And after like, a few seconds of like just talking to him on the phone, he was like, yesterday I was in my car with the drummer from the Paul McCartney band, and we were going to see the new Spider-Man movie or whatever. I don't remember what it was. And we're listening to Led Zeppelin 1, and we decided to skip the movie and just listen to the whole album. And
in the parking lot.
And when I listened to the album, it really kind of you know, it kind of like he made the connection between Led Zeppelin 1 and the Damn Truth, and he was like, this is the kind of album that I want to make for you guys. And when he said that, like all the barriers kind of like melted away, and it felt like we're in good hands. And
there was no fear anymore. We understood each other, you know.
Yeah.
Totally. And he's like such a good Canadian boy. When we met him later in the studio, same feeling again. You know, I'm gonna have to play guitar in front of this guy. You know, it's like the best guitar players in the world play guitar in front of this guy, and now it's my turn. You know, and there's definitely like was a moment of anxiety there, but like he's such a cool guy, and he's like one of us. You know, he's like a band guy that's just been doing it for years. Such a good vibe, good Canadian boy. We're the best.
Cool. Just out of curiosity, someone like Bob, what does he bring to the table? He's got to have like so many tricks up his sleeve.
He brings the entire table, really.
Well, man, I mean, it's like you don't know where to start, because on one hand, it's the incredible like expertise that he had in terms of the miking, in terms of like giving us, you know, the full use of all these incredible microphones. Like he's like making the first day, like, let me try like all whatever I wanted to try and see what you want. And then, okay, this is Bono's mic. This is Frank Sinatra's mic. I'm like, oh, awesome. It's like, that's the same model. And he's like, no, this is the actual mic that Frank Sinatra sang on. So that was the one I ended up recording the album on. I mean, it was just incredible. So if one thing, there's the incredible expertise, the incredible gear. There's his incredible vast knowledge of music, and above all, I think it's the way he is as a person, his character, and the way what he gets out of you is stuff that you didn't even know you had. Like I really, really can't believe like the stuff that came out of me in those sessions. I think of all of us. I think we were all pushed to our limits and it wasn't in a it wasn't in a bad way. You know, you think when you're being put, we were tricked into it was all magic, man. It was all magic. It's very hard to pinpoint how we got to that. But I mean, it just did. I think it's his character, his charisma, the fact that he's Bob Rock, and you're going to listen to him. And we were there to listen and learn. We were really there to embrace everything and try everything. We weren't there to like start, oh no, let's impose our ideas. I mean, if we already did that, then what do we need Bob for? You know?
Right. Yeah.
Whatever he did, it was almost kind of like a chess match. You know, it's like the player moves 2-3 little guys, and then all of a sudden, like the game is over. I mean, he would suggest a few little things on each song, and then we would play it 2-3 times, and the sound would just explode out of the speakers. You know, little tempos or arrangement changes or feel changes. I mean, he's really focused on just making the songs like feel as great as possible. And it was very transparent, you know, whatever he was proposing or suggested was very, I don't want to say mundane, but I mean, the result was the result, the changes after every step was just like explosive, you know, so he knows what is needed to make a song, you know, really just elevate just the way the song sounds and feels, you know?
Yeah, he was very focused on the vibe, you know, like how do you feel when you listen to this part? And he wouldn't let 1 second of music feel dull, you know?
Right. Yeah. And everything you guys are saying, that comes through. That absolutely comes through when you listen to the album. It's I mean, it's such a step up. You guys were great before, but like now you have this, and it just sounds like, I don't know, it just sounds incredible. It just absolutely, I absolutely love it. I can't keep, I gotta stop kissing ass here. But so unfortunately, I also read that these sessions were cut short and not the full album was done by Bob. What 3 tracks were done back in Montreal?
Everything Fades, Shot 'Em,
The Fire.
Okay, that's interesting. Cool. Okay. Now, this is probably going to be a bit tough to answer, but maybe we can go through if there's different answers. But what is everyone's like favorite song off the new album?
I really like, I'll go first here. I really like, and I'm super proud of the song Tomorrow. The song was written really relatively super quick. And it's just like such a hopeful message to it. That just I think really comes through, and the song really transformed in the studio too with Bob, and just the way Leah sings on it, and I love the guitar riff and everything about that song. When I listen to it, makes me feel good, and I think it's the kind of vibe that we wanted on the record. And with this song and Only Love, you know, I think they are the standout tracks for me on that record.
Right.
For me, I have a very strong love to Lonely. Like it used to be this stripped down, like super just me a cappella singing this song. And when we brought it to Bob, that's what we had recorded. It was just me. And he said, I love it. Let's make it into a band track. And we said, great. How do we do that? Because we just didn't know. And we tried so many variations. And then eventually it was the one song that really was born with Bob. Like, he just sort of helped us direct it, put it together. Okay, Tom, you play a little lick, I play this little thing. And it just happened. And within like 10, 15 minutes, the song was done. And that's really what was captured. And I love it. I love that magic in it. I love the fact that it brings me back to the session. Every time I hear it, I really remember what it felt like that first time, you know, that we played it together. And it was like, wow, how the hell did that happen? This was an a cappella song. So it was very, very cool.
So smooth. Lonely. Wow. I'm just a constant kettle of change. So for the first few weeks, This Is Who We Are Now was my favorite track because, you know, just all that energy and just the bombastic fucking Led Zeppelin 1 drums. Mm-hmm. But today, I think today it's Tomorrow and Only Love, because we've been practicing the songs for a show and we have all these back harmonies and stuff. And it's a lot of work and it's really, really fun to be jamming those songs. And I'm just so excited to play them live. So today, those two are my go-tos. Cool.
My favorite's Look Innocent. When we were going into the studio session, I was just kind of like nervous because there's a lot going on the drums. It's such a dynamic song. We take it, I think some of the lowest, not the lowest, but I mean like the softest like dynamics on the drums are in that song, and some of the most like complicated drum parts. And when we were queuing it up to play for Bob, I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe we have to do this song now, you know? And it just came out so awesome. I'm really proud of it. It's a very challenging song for me. And when I hear it back, I'm very, very, very satisfied with that song. Lila's vocal performance is incredible. The bridge on that song just like gives me shivers every time we play it. Just love that one.
Cool. I totally know what you mean with how your favorite songs can kind of change on a day-to-day basis. So I wrote down my top 3 from today, just listening to the album again. Lonely has actually always stayed. That's like my number 1. I really, really connected with that song. And hearing a bit of the background with it now, I'm just like, yeah, I totally get why now. The Fire is incredible too. And just like that, those are the ones that really hit me today on my.
Which is the third? Everything Fades. Yeah. Awesome.
I also thought it was really cool that like some of the songs on this album had some interesting backstories with them, and I believe it was Lonely had to do with that awful van fire that happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you tell me what happened?
Well, it happened in Ontario, so I mean,
so it's Doug's
fault.
No.
It was our first tour with this guy.
Yeah.
And we were literally 5 days into the tour. And while we were on the road, it just like disaster struck in Sault Ste. Marie. We had just gassed up. Lee-la smells something. We look to our left, people in their cars are waving us down frantically. So we pull off, and within like a minute, the van is ablaze. It's like front to back. There's a very compelling video on YouTube that you can see of our van on fire.
Oh my God.
All of our personal items, our clothes, all that stuff that's in the van, everything's just burning. It's going up in flames, you know? And during that tour, I mean, there was just like, you know, there was this song that we were composing while we were in the van, Lonely. You know, it kind of was born in that moment, you know, in the motel that night after that disaster. I mean, take it away.
Yeah. I mean, we just were ready to like try to pack up and leave, but we were on a motel on the side of the road with our trailer. That was the only thing that was kept. We had no wheels. There was nothing attached to the trailer, and we had to try to find a way to get back to Montreal, you know. And so that night we just put together a GoFundMe, hoping, you know, to get a few bucks to rent a van to get back to, you know, back home. And when we woke up the next morning, you know, to our incredible surprise and I don't even know how to explain. It was like
shock and joy.
Yeah. There was enough money to like, you know, rent 2 vehicles and like continue the journey, you know, not go back, like actually continue the tour, buy everything that we needed, all the clothes and whatever was gone, and, you know, so it's very hard to explain because even to now I'm so emotional. The fact that like the next morning, like we had Ben with us who was 3 years old, and so there was a car seat outside of our hotel room just waiting for us, like new diapers and clothes, and the whole community around heard about it and helped, and then the whole like Canadian rock and roll community came to our aid. So that was like I think the moment where we were really like reborn and we understood what an incredible tight knit the rock and roll community is, and how thankful we are to be a part of it. And it was like from a horrible situation, a really, really incredible realization came about. And that's, that love and that sense of community and caring for each other. And I think throughout the rest of the tour, every night I would sing Lonely, and I would dedicate it to everybody, to the people who helped, and to the people that, came to the show, the fact after all this had happened. So it turned into a really, really special song.
Right. That's just such a tribute to your fans and just people that love your music to just help out like that. It's so lovely how music can just make people do that just out of the love of the music and the band. Incredible. And just step up. That's such a beautiful story.
It's also funny because it's not funny, but like like some of like those communities up north in Canada in general are so small, and like, that story made headline news when it happened. And when we're driving back to Vancouver to make our record with Bob, we drove from Montreal to Vancouver obviously to make the record. We got pulled over by the cops, and POA was driving, so he can tell you the story a bit better. But
yeah, it's funny you bring that up because Tom was actually just finished his like 6-hour shift. We had 52 hours to drive, and we had to get there on time because we had 4 days to record 6 songs. So right from the get-go, we were on overdrive. So I'm going 150. It's fucking, the Great Lakes Highway, 2 lanes, trees on both sides. What are the cops even doing there? I have no idea. So we're ripping, in those hills. And then sure enough, the blue and red lights show up. And we're like, shit, we're pretty far from Sault Ste. Marie. In my head, I'm like, let's hope we can like weave the story and help them remember who we are,
Right.
Sure enough, they were 2 really, really nice young cops. And we just started talking to them. I explained the situation. I'm like, do you guys like the Black Album? Do you know the Black Album? They're like, yeah. I'm like, well, we're going to record with Bob Rock. And we need to get there tomorrow, And they were like, okay, cool. Show us one of your songs. If you're going pretty fast, so if we like your music, we'll let you go. So I pulled up a YouTube video, and they went to the car with my phone. And they listened to the whole song. It was so long. Me and Dave were like, oh, fuck, they're writing us a ticket. Tom wakes up, what's going on? The camera guy's in the back, like, smirking. And finally, they come back, hand the phone. They're like, have a good drive, boys. And I swear, I spit off at 150 still because I was like, we got to get to Bob Rock, man. It was a Wayne's World moment if ever we had one of those.
Yeah. Oh, my God. That's so cool. The other song I think that I read about that had just an interesting take on it was This Is Who We Are Now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there were lyrics not really written down for this? You just went into the booth and just went for it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing was like the song was with us throughout the tour in terms of the riff and the melody line of the chorus, like the hook. This is who we are now. But like the lyric and this is who we are now
just the chorus.
That was it. It was our motto. Tom heard it while driving in the middle of the night through Texas somewhere. He told BY, take out your phone, record this. It's going to be something. And then it ended up being like our slogan, this is who we are now. No matter what happened in our world, this is who we are now. We could fit it to anything. We got ripped off. Oh, this is who we are now, guys. Or, we had a great show. This is who we are now, people. It was that. And then when we got back to Montreal and we felt, okay, we got to do something with this. So the guys started to get the groove going. It was like, it just started to feel really good in the studio. I remember I jumped on the mic. I hadn't written another word and everything just came out. Here's Ben. You can say hi to Frankie.
Hey, Ben.
Hello, Frankie.
Hi, Ben. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So then one second, I'm in the middle of my story. And then Yeah, well, basically I did. I finished. I told her, didn't I? So I just
No.
jumped. I jumped on the mic. I jumped on the mic and I just spat out the first thing that came to mind, and it ended up being the words, like the lyrics that stayed for all the verses. It just came out. It was one of those moments, you know.
Wow.
It's pretty special.
It was crazy. There's a point when we're like listening to it, we're listening back to it, and it's like, okay, what did I say there? Write it down. Okay, cool. I was like, what? The take, man. It was the take. It was crazy.
That's so cool. Yeah, that when that magic just happens on the floor, like that's just such a special moment. You got to try and bottle it, you know. And I think like you managed to do that for the rest of the album too. So that's incredible. Can you tell me what it feels like having an album coming out and then not really being able to immediately go out on tour to support it? That's got to be pretty scary.
Yeah, it's very weird. I mean, we've been thinking about this a lot lately, and we're going through the motions of doing everything we can in terms of media, in terms of interviews, but it really feels weird that we're not doing this face-to-face, going to play a show in Toronto right now. You know, It's definitely very, very strange. But, we're trying to just stay hopeful and stay positive. Like, we can't get, pulled back because of this, where we know there's a show booked for, February 2022 in the UK. We've got a whole tour that we're going to do there. And hopefully there'll be a lot more. It's just a matter of the world opening up. I have a feeling it will. We have to keep hopeful. We have just announced a live stream concert, which we're working towards. That's going to be worldwide in June. We're doing everything we can. We're reinventing the rule books. Yes, it's super stressful. Exactly. I'm not gonna be
but like last year, we take that stress and we pour it into something new. And this time we, instead of doing songs we love, we're doing a week in the damn life. Mm-hmm. So we started this new project, which we've never done before, but we all became video editors overnight. And now we're recording our personal rockumentary, which answers your question, like releasing a record in 2021. Who the fuck does that? And that's our spiel,
Right, yeah.
Just know about nothing and everything.
Which, by the way, the videos are so fun and cool to go, well, they're obviously sad with content, but just such a great idea and just very, very watchable, for sure.
It's just, like with our band, it's... nothing has ever been like handed to us on a silver platter. It's like, oh, here's a big label and a bunch of money and built-in fans or whatever. It's like everything that we kind of built for ourselves was done by like going out there, playing some nights to like 5 to 7 people,
right.
And making fans, converting them one by one. And I think we built kind of a really cool community around us by doing stuff that we want to do that we think is cool. And like songs we love, we thought that was cool. A Week in the Damn Life, it's something that if I saw another band do it, I would watch it. I thought it was pretty cool. But it's all kind of like substitute to what we really love doing, which is like, yeah, playing the show is great, but it's like the after show. It's like meeting the people from all walks of life, from everywhere in the country or in the world at this point, and just getting those stories and getting those connections. Because in the end of the day, yeah, it's a career. We make some sort of a living out of like music, but the truth of the matter is that like this is here to solve our loneliness, and it's kind of like being on the road and meeting all these people. It's kind of the point, So I really miss it personally, and I can't wait to get on the road again.
For sure. We can't wait to see you on the road again. That's for sure too. Okay, I know we are pretty much out of time, so I'll just skip to the end here. I always ask my guests this. Again, just to deal with the pandemic, I always love knowing who my guests have been listening to the most to get them through the hardest times.
Good question. It changes a lot. I listen to a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I'm really needing that pickup, it's either Bob Dylan or Neil Young. I don't know, the way the songwriting of those guys, the endearing voice, like both Neil Young and Bob Dylan, they have such, crazy voices. I absolutely love them. They're not like the beautiful, nice, they just have that voice that touches me, that makes me cry on a dime. And if I need to cry, this is what I'm going to listen to. If I need to get it out, this is what I'm going to listen to. And I just love it. Those are my go-tos.
Do you want to do it? Or?
I've been listening to such a wide range of things lately, discovering new bands and, going back to my classics that make me feel good. Geez, I guess in terms of the new stuff I've been listening to, I discovered this band, Blues Pills, which is kind of cool. They're out of Sweden.
Cool.
But otherwise, I've been listening to a lot of Free and, Zeppelin and AC/DC, back with Bon Scott and all that good stuff.
Cool. I guess, yeah, you kind of answered it for me. But I also am always interested to find out how people go about finding new music, like, so the new up and comers, and then just for everyone, maybe, like, what is the latest and greatest find, someone new to you that you're really into right now?
There's a bunch of really cool bands. Like I'm really into like the new rock and roll revival, Greta Van Fleet and Dirty Honey and whatever.
Yeah.
I also really like the new Foo Fighters album. Obviously, it's the Foo Fighters at this point is like a legacy band, but they still put out like mainstream rock killer records. You know, every album
Day in, day out.
has hits on it that I really love, and I try to listen to as much as I can. You know, it's like sometimes I got Spotify on shuffle and just like let it run. You know,
I discovered something new today on Shom 97.7. They were playing fucking Bono's kids band that's called Inhaler.
Yes. Yeah.
And I just heard like a snippet of a song, and I can't wait to go listen to it. You know, I only heard a snippet, but it excited me. I was like, holy shit. Holy fucking shit.
Yeah,
you know?
it's sick, man.
Check it out. Yeah.
I haven't heard it either, but I did hear about them talking about it today.
I got excited. So I'm glad you asked me that question, because it reminded me there is exciting stuff happening.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Music never stops.
Never.
Cool. All right. And now this will be the last question. This one's for Ben, actually.
Ben, you have a question?
Yeah.
Ben, do you have the coolest parents in the world?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you know what I'm interested in?
What?
I like colored vinyls.
Oh, cool. What's your favorite one?
My favorite one is the Kinks Arthur.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great one. Sweet. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. I'll let you get to your next one.
Let's see you in Toronto.
Yeah, can't wait.
Gotta have
Can't
beers,
wait.
Frankie.
Yeah, we will. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Take care, man.
Bye.
Much love,
Cheers,
brother.
guys.
Have a good
Bye,
afternoon.
everyone.
Cheers, man.
Bye.
Bye.